This is Lock Lover, and today I'm going to try and open a challenge lock that is pinned up by user GoontenSlouch from the lockpicking subreddit. The name of the lock is the Super 413 is a marked cylinder and the Schlage keyway, and the key is mummied. So let's start with top of the keyway tension and see what we can come up with here. You got to click out of it was 4, then 5, then 3. 2 is super tight. Actually, that'd be 2. Slight click out of 1. Now we got to click out of 2. Another one back there, it's pretty solid. 5 and 4, there we go. Now we're into a really deep false set, and I have my pick stuck. I'm going to try it and push it through the back of the lock, bring it down. Not quite getting anywhere there. Oop. Lost our wrench, but luckily we're still in a false set. See what we got here. Let's see here. 1's giving us counter rotation. If I can stay on it. Having to go off this warding here on the side, which is kind of angled. Try a different pick here. And we're open. I can't turn the lock anymore because the cam is hitting my vise, so I will slide this out just a little bit. Show you that I can turn it. We do have the key, so we will lock it back up. I'll have to stick my pick in here and push the pins down so we can get it to turn. I'll find a thinner pick that I can get in there. It'd be nice if I do it the right way. I'm trying to push down there. I need to come up here. Okay, now we're caught on the cam again. Lock it back up. Zoom the camera out. This has been a pretty challenging lock. You can get some false sets out of this lock that are not recoverable, and I can pretty much tell you now before I take it apart. GoontenSlouch has some spooled key pins in here. Yeah, we'll look at the key here in just a second. We'll get the camera rearranged here. pretty good bitting. Looks like a low, high, low, high, low, high. Just what you'd expect for a good challenge lock bitting. Appears to be a factory cut key or a key that had been filed and reproduced. Obviously it could have been some lower cuts that have been a lot harder. Getting underneath this pin for the very last pin was quite challenging with the Sparrow's high reach, but you know, it worked out pretty good for me. Make sure the key works the lock. It's just as smooth as the way the lock would come from the factory. Get some of these picks out of the way here. I believe that's the one we want. Yeah, we've definitely got, looks to be like 4 spooled pins. This one in the back isn't really moving up or down. Obviously it will go down. Let's see what we got here with the key out. Yeah, this one back here is really low. This one's kind of low. That one's low. Okay, so that's going to be 6. 6 is a standard. 5 is a spooled key pin. 4 is a spooled key pin. 3 is a spooled key pin. 2 is a spooled key pin. And 1 is a standard. So that would definitely explain the false sets that I was getting, that I could not recover from, because I was actually getting false sets from oversetting some of these key pins. As you can see, or may not be able to see, they are quite thin at the top. Very sharp, quite thin, very easy to overset. Let's see what we have up top. Try to get this turned right. One, we have a spool. Two, we have a spool with a, felt like a pretty good spring there. 3 is a spool. And that spool looks kind of bent, or it might be the way, no, it is kind of bent. He had turned that one really thin. Maybe I can talk to him and see if he wants me to put a different pin in it before I send it out to somebody else, or I'll ship the lock back to him and let him put another pin in it. Four is another spool. It's really, really thin. And 5 is a spool. 6. I'm going to dump it out the back here. 6 is a real nice serrated pin. That almost looks like a production pin. The quality of the serrations are that good. If he did that by hand, I definitely commend you for your work there. Okay, let's try and get the springs out real quick without damaging any of them. Let's see. Spring 1 is steel. Two is a copper brass type spring. 3 is a different type of copper brass type spring. Almost looks doubled up, but it's not. 4 is another steel spring. 5 is another copper spring, and I'm going to guess steel. And I lost that bet. So another copper spring, which is different. Steel, copper, different kind of copper, steel, copper, and a different kind of copper. Let me find a sharp pick here. Upper chambers in the Bible do not appear to be modified in any way, and the core or plug of the lock is not modified in any way. With all those spools, it really made a pretty good challenging lock. Like I said, if you got caught in one of the false sets, it was caused by having an overset key pin, and there's really no way of getting out of it without resetting the lock. So it was a really fun pick. He did a good job, and I'd like to thank him for sending this lock my way. My camera really doesn't focus very well when I zoom in or try to get a close-up. I will do that for you anyhow, just to show that I'm not trying to hide anything here, and then I will try to incorporate some pictures. Well, we did good today. It's zooming in. This camera has its quirks. As you can see there, the would that be number 3? There's the one that kind of got bent. And here is the serrated. He did a really good job on that. It almost looks like a brass screw, but it's not spiraled. It's definitely serrations. Okay, so that is the Super 413 from GoontenSlouch. Thanks, guys.